This week on Arizona Illustrated, the dedication of the Alva Torres Plaza in downtown Tucson.
I did not realize that it was part of something that was happening all over the country. I didn't realize that they were going after neighborhoods that had less.
Meet a reggae band that's been playing a Tucson, Chicago bar for over 38 years.
The more I looked into it, the more I understood that the history of the group and the history of the bar was woven into the fabric of Tucson.
A UA professor's discovery could lead to big breakthroughs for clean air and water.
They could detect whether their food products have any of the three major foodborne bacteria.
And a trip to St. Phillips Plaza for the weekly artisan market.
The atmosphere is fantastic with the grass and the trees and the courtyards and all of the restaurants and the businesses around.
Hello, and welcome to another all-new episode of Arizona Illustrated. I'm Tom McNamara. This area that's now home to the Tucson Convention Center complex used to be known as Calle, a thriving cultural center in Tucson. However, urban renewal in the 60s forced out hundreds of businesses and residents from the area, most of whom were minorities. However, this sparked a new activism for former Tucson Citizen columnist Alva Torres, who led the charge to help preserve many culturally important structures. This newly named Alva Bustamante Torres Plaza now bears the name of her story and advocacy.
Bienvenidos. Welcome all. We're here to celebrate. We're here to honor. We are here to recognize.
What we're trying to do today is add a new layer of history. We're celebrating the dedication of the TCC landscape in the honor of Alva Bustamante Torres.
Some of you know Alva Bustamante Torres from her many years as a columnist with the old Tucson Citizen, where she dispensed stories and recipes. And some of you may know her through the books of Professor Lydia Otero.
My name is Alva Bustamante Torres. I love Tucson because Tucson is the people. That's what Tucson means to me, people. And so it wasn't hard to do what I did because I love people.
She was a fireball who led and organized the movement that tried to bring attention to urban renewal. And this is a history that's kind of gone underneath. Up to this point, there wasn't something that talked about urban renewal in a way that it's doing today. A close encounter with a family friend, Rodolfo Soto, opened Alva Bustamante's eyes to the destruction that was taking place.
And one day I saw him at a party and he looked very sad. And I said, Mr. Soto, what's the matter? And he says, don't you know? He said, they're going to knock everything down. They're going to take away the barrio libre. They're going to do it. And they're not even going to know we were ever here. But when he told me that, I got very interested. And the next Sunday, I called people and said, I'm going to have a meeting at my house. And people showed up.
Today, we're standing on ground that holds many layers of history. The gazebo at La Placita, the wishing shrine known as El Tiradito, and the Sosa Carrillo and Samaniego houses are among the structures that have Arizona historical markers that specifically mention Mexican-American contributions to local history in both English and Spanish, which Alva insisted upon. Most Tucsonenses were intimately familiar with this space. They called it La Calle. South Meyer was La Calle's main commercial thoroughfare.
I did not realize that it was part of something that was happening all over the country. I didn't realize that they were going after neighborhoods that had this.
Torres perceived urban renewal as an attack on Mexican people who had built and lived in Tucson. In a letter to Congressman Morris Udall in 1967, she wrote, "It's not enough that many citizens of Mexican descent who lived in the area for many years are being relocated and caused financial distress, but it appears to us that the main effort is to destroy, once and for all, any identification with the Mexican American community." The mayor proposed and the council approved naming the TCC Plaza after Alva Bustamante early this year.
I think that this is a monumental event. I think in many ways it's a game changer. It signals a new era in that we will examine the histories of this area with more intensity.
So in the future, when people see the signage out there, that people will read a little bit and know that there was resistance, but they also might ask more questions. Not just who is Alva, but also what happened here.
And now, therefore, I, on behalf of Mayor Romero, do proclaim today, December 9th, 2022, as Alva Torres Appreciation Day.
Alva's my mentor, certainly, and she's inspired me, and because of what she did. And I'm glad that more people see that now.
It's important. History is important. Still, something comes up where I'm ready to go back into battle. I don't care what. I don't care if it's a mountain or an ocean. I'm going to swim it and I'm going to climb it. And I'll still do it.
You're probably familiar with the Tucson Music Hall, recently renamed the Linda Ronstadt Music Hall. But now we are about to visit a far less formal music venue, the Chicago Bar on Tucson's east side. Since 1984, it's been home to the reggae band Neon Prophet, and their story was just recently chronicled in a new book called Reggae Night by the British author Harvey Burgess.
We came in and we were kind of surprised at the size and how few people were here, and there was no music. And we just looked at each other and said, wow, this could be a scene. And Neon Prophet was our second band that we ever hired here. So right from the get-go.
The original owners, they saw us playing, they really liked us, and they had this idea of having reggae. It was a different bar then. Chicago, it was like a motorcycle bar. They had reggae Thursdays and reggae Saturdays, and it caught on after a while,
So then you have a Chicago bar in Tucson with a reggae band. I mean, I don't know, it just all worked out.
The idea that a reggae group could sustain themselves for, 37, 38 years and effectively be the resident band in a bar on the east side of town, I knew that was special. And the more I looked into it, the more I understood that the history of the group and the history of the bar was woven into the fabric of Tucson. The name of the book is Reggae Night, Neon Prophet at the Chicago Bar. I have made concrete an oral history of Neon Prophet, the current band members, former band members, clientele. I interviewed around 60 people.
I had never been to a place where they feature every week, Thursday and Saturday, local reggae, no matter what. I appreciate Neon Prophet at the Chicago Bar and Kerwin. He's been here longer than the furniture, look.
I think I made the furniture, which is a total lie. No, I've been here for a long time. I started here in '92 doing the door. I was a bartender back in New York City, paid my way through college. And one of the bartenders here was having an issue. I got behind the bar, took over, and the owner hired me. So I've been here for almost 30 years.
Check, check, check. There we go. Check, 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 check.
When you hear reggae in Tucson, it doesn't seem to make sense, but they make it work. And the fact that they've been here so long, I can walk around this town and literally, 1 out of 4 people, if I mention Neon Prophet, Chicago Bar, Neon. I saw them back in 1970 or 1980. I mean, everyone knows Neon Prophet, and literally it's a symbiotic relationship between Chicago Bar and Neon Prophet. So yeah, it's just, they're a Tucson legacy.
How are we doing tonight, Tucson? I'm so glad you made it out tonight here, Chicago Bar.
Well, I came here in 1970. I was in the Air Force at Davis Monthan. Grew up and raised Miami and New York.
Whoa, yeah.
I came to town in '84 and checked the weekly, and these guys were playing at a club called Nino's. Used to be on Euclid and Grant. And I went down and checked them out, and that was my first time hearing them.
Well, he was like our 6th member of the band, you know.
Yeah, then I started hanging around, sitting in with them.
Lady Falcon.
Lady Falcon.
Tony Falcon. When I joined, Neon Prophet was already a legend. They've always had lots of different vocalists coming up, lots of talent. Neon Prophet is always going to attract good musicians because they've got the name, they've got reputation, you know, everybody's heard of him.
My mother used to come to Chicago Bar. In fact, Kerwin remembers my mom, and she was a bit of a partier back in the day. So the first time I heard Neon Prophet play, I just remember hearing this beautiful voice coming from the stage.
I am the rebel commander.
And I didn't know who it was at first. I didn't know what was going on. I just went outside and, you know, I asked him who was singing the song, and he pointed to Tony. You know, I was like, no way. Like, I was like, there's no way it's that guy, no offense.
Only recruiting girls from a rebel army.
And so I just said my name and said that he was great, and he just looked at me in shock. And I was like, okay.
Well, who wouldn't be?
And he was one of the only people who did not hit on me that night.
I was probably like,
97, the year the Cats won the national championship in basketball. Just a few months before that, Jamie walked into the Chicago store and said, hey, what are you doing? You want to play with Neon Prophet? This Saturday night show is like, this is, for the last 37 years, this is Tucson's reggae scene. And it's amazing to be a part of it.
You know, an interesting thing about reggae in Tucson is the Native American people got into it really before it was in the city. Yeah, we play desert reggae.
We play our own brand of, you know, our own style. Jamie is a hell of a singer and bass player.
There's been a lot of different players, except for David, who's really Neon Prophet, and he's got a great voice.
I'm using up the sound of Neon Prophet now. Rockin' reggae music, rubber dub, let's get on down.
David Dean, that voice of his should be heard like all over. I mean, that voice is like unbelievable. It's like no other voice.
I really love the vibe of David's song, Dance With Me. It shows what we are about, dance with me. You know, that is the real truth of Neon Prophet.
People come here in all their sartorial elegance, feeling very comfortable. It's non-judgmental. All of humankind rubs shoulders in this bar. I began to understand, you know, their kind of foundational principle of one love, unconditional love. It really resonated with me, and it's been fantastic.
They're on a long ride. I just joined in on the ride, like, so like that, I'm happy about that. I'm happy like I got a chance to experience it, and I'm still experiencing it.
Yeah, it's been a blast. Well, how could it not be? I mean, you get to play on stage, you get to drink, and get to smoke.
You can edit
Play
that
music.
out.
It could be the cigarette.
As long as people are coming, we're loving it.
You know, we're having fun, and it's more like, not really serious, it's like a jam, man. It's like, we come here, and we have our friends, there are a lot of great musicians that are out there.
There isn't anything else like this. There's a connection with the community, with each other. It's really different. It's special.
How you feeling, Tucson?
I wonder how long can they go? I mean, come on.
All right. Ow! Thank you so very much. Yeah.
Mark Whitten is a retired professor of pediatrics at the U of A, but his most important work may be yet to come. He's discovered a biofilm derived from lung tissue that reacts to tiny substances in the air and in the water. And he's developing this into a sensor that can detect pathogens in the air and a desalination method that can turn seawater into water we can drink.
I like doing research, and it's fun. I don't consider it work. And that's the goal in life, to do something you like so much that you don't think you're going to work, you're going to do something you love. All right, ready? Yeah. I would like to think that what I'm doing could really help out a lot of people. And I'm Mark Whitten. I'm a retired professor of pediatrics at the U of A College of Medicine. I still have a U of A appointment in the College of Agriculture as a research scientist with my biosensor. The lipid biofilm is a derivative of lung surfactant. The surfactant in your lungs is a lipid substance that basically coats the 500 million little gas sacs in your lungs called alveoli. And I believe I have the fastest biosensor in the world that can detect airborne bacteria and viruses. Yeah. We're down right now where we can accurately measure 4 cells per mil of various bacteria. And I ran those experiments at 200ths of a second time. We estimate that we could put 5 sensors in each of the 40,000 food processing facilities in the United States alone. They could detect whether their food products have any of the 3 major foodborne bacteria, Listeria, Salmonella, or E. coli 0157-87, in 200ths of a second. My biosensor potentially could be used not only in food processing facilities, it could be used by the military to detect biological and chemical warfare agents. It could be used for explosive detection. It could be used for building security. It could be used to where you, before you get on an airplane, you breathe into this sensor and it lets us know whether you are infected with COVID, whether you have influenza or respiratory syncytial virus. Then I was in Saudi Arabia, and I was at a meeting with the head of research and development. Saudi Arabia produces 8 million barrels of oil a day and uses 10% of that just to get fresh water out of seawater. I actually got an epiphany with that meeting. I knew that when I ran really pure water through my biosensor, I get a different curve from very pure water to water that just has 0.09%, not even 1% salt in it. And that indicated to me that my biofilm reacted with the salt. And that's how the desalinization, low energy desalinization started. So now I'm gonna put it in the water. Right now, desalinated water, because of the huge power requirements, from reverse osmosis or flash distillation, where you just boil the seawater and collect the condensate, It's 20 times more expensive than groundwater. I just need a little bit of water movement over the biofilm plate to have my desalinization process. I would say I will use maybe 5 to 10% of the energy that reverse osmosis uses. I've developed this now to where we're ready to go to an industrial prototype phase. So I have two companies. Phoenix Biometrics is the biosensor company, and Witten Technologies is the low energy desalinization. Motivating factor to me is to try and improve the human existence.
And you can see that the salt is beginning to interact with the biofilm.
You know, I love studying the human body. I think it's the most complex organism. So I'm not surprised that I was able to take something from lung surfactant and do a lot of things with it. From that standpoint, what we need to do is study the body more and give us an idea of how we can solve some of these complex problems.
Each weekend, Tucsonans can head over to St. Phillips Plaza at River and Campbell for the Artisan Market. And there they will find wind chimes and unique foods and locally sourced cutting boards and everything in between. Here are some of the sights, sounds, and vendors from that weekly event.
My name is Cindy Williams. I'm the market manager for the St. Phillips Plaza Market and the social media manager for the St. Phillips Plaza. So our market has been here for 17 years. What you see here, everything is handmade, uniquely Tucson artwork. We have everything from clay pottery. We have plants and cactus from our local desert areas. We have hand-poured candles. We have authentic Mexican merchandise and Native American merchandise. Just about any kind of art from any kind of media. What I love so much is to nurture Tucson's local art community, make sure that they have a gathering place. So that's what I get out of it. It's very rewarding.
We went to 3 or 4 different markets, ended up loving this one. We've been coming to the market here at St. Phillips Plaza for about a year and a half. The atmosphere is fantastic with the grass and the trees and the courtyards and all of the restaurants and the businesses around. The other thing is people bring their dogs through here, and so you get to see dogs. There's live music. So my name is Mike Young. I'm the owner of Busted Bark Woodshop. We started by our love of cooking, first off. Created a couple cutting boards for ourselves. From there, it kind of took off. We saw an opportunity to use locally sourced hardwoods. So in particular, the mesquites that we use are all sourced locally from Tucson. The other hardwoods we use are all bought here in Tucson from Tucson businesses, but they're sourced from all over the world. The most satisfying thing for us is being able to sell a product to somebody and tell them where it came from, how it was made, how to care for it, and to know that they're gonna display it or use it in their house for many, many years. And hopefully hand down to different generations. It should be wonderful, yeah.
It means the world. I mean, I love it. I feel free and I feel very happy to interact with all these beautiful people, especially all these people that comes from everywhere. We get people from Italy, New York, Chicago, Colorado, Texas. So it's great to be here outdoors. You know, you feel free and I'm just happy. Claria Duz. I sell the Mexican artisans clothing. I've been doing this for 4 years. Oaxaca, Chiapas, Tlaxcala, San Cristobal de las Casas, Guerrero, Guadalajara, Mexico. Everything is from Mexico. I make these pieces right here and it's sold by hand. Each piece right here, it comes with a bracelet and also with the earrings. It takes about 3 months to finish. The name of this set is 100 Flowers because in reality it is 100 flowers. No, you start like playing around when you a kid, making little bracelets, and then you start learning, and then you find that this is what you really like to do. I love it. I love what I do.
So my name is Gabriella Boudreau. I own a small CBD company. We are family owned and we've been in business about 5 years. My younger brother battled cancer for about 4 years, and that was kind of a window for my family to learn about alternative and plant medicine. So we learned a lot about hemp at that time and cannabis in general and its medicinal properties. I fell in love with plant medicine at that point. It's just become a passion of mine. People use it for all kinds of aches and pains. So we do a lot of research on terpenes, which are the aromatic compounds found in cannabis. They're highly therapeutic. We do a lot of research around cannabis for pain relief, that kind of thing. CBD works the same way in all mammals. They all have an endocannabinoid system. So CBD produces a similar physiological effect in dogs and cats as it does with humans. It has a lot of uses for dogs. A lot of people use it for anxiety, for behavioral issues, management of inflammation, that kind of thing.
I am Tom Marquis, and I've been at the market here for 8 years now. I just come on Saturdays. This is all made out of mesquite wood. The blue in it is turquoise and it's from Arizona. If you look on the back of everything, it'll be my name, Tom Marquis, Tucson, Arizona, the date, and it's numbered 1753. I have no idea what I'm making when I start. I put it on my lathe and I just round it and I wait for the voids to appear, and the voids then dictate what actually the shape is. So I start with actually chunks of turquoise and I bust them up and make them into granule pieces. I start with the bigger and form that in there. It's time consuming. You have to keep it formed as close as you can, and then when you get it kind of in there, you have to sand and sand and sand and sand and sand. An average piece takes me 20 to 25 hours to make. I was a math teacher for years. When you retire, you need something to do, and this is what I have folded into, because it's a hobby that pays for itself eventually. It does not make you any money, but it pays for itself. It's like free golf is what I always consider it to be.
Thank you for joining us here on Arizona Illustrated. I'm Tom McNamara. We'll see you next week with another all-new episode.